Hello, I am Stephanie Joy, the attorney at All Things Social Security and Joy Disability Law. Your video is about to start. I just wanted to remind you that if you click the join button below, you can learn more about the memberships offered at a very affordable price that can give you a little more direct attorney answers to your questions. Have a great day and enjoy the video. Okay, I just wanted to address a question from a very nice viewer. Okay, the comment is, and it was in response to a video about dual filing, early retirement while having a Social Security disability claim issue fits. Different issue than what the question was about, though, but it probably prompted him. Okay, so this individual says he's receiving SSI since 2009. And Social Security, he says, forced him to collect early retirement at age 64. And he acknowledges that his full retirement age is 67 and wanted to know if they can do that. So the only question I have is, why do they wait till 64? Because at 62, he was presumably eligible for early retirement. Presumably, there could be some very remote exceptions to that, such as if he never had enough credits, but had them by the time he was 64 for retirement. That would mean he was a very light worker his whole life. That's possible. And then during SSI, he was working very little, properly reporting it and getting those credits. I've never actually seen one of those cases happen in the manner I just described, but in theory, it could happen. Okay. So can they do that? Can they force you to collect early retirement if you're collecting SSI? I guess it depends what you mean by force. They can not give you SSI if you do not use your other resources to support yourself. The reason being, again, got to face the facts. SSI is welfare. It is not what you paid in for. It is not Social Security, disability, or retirement. So when it comes to welfare, if you have your own stuff, you can't have your neighbor, your fellow taxpayers, have to give you theirs, right? You use yours, and if yours runs out because it's so insufficient, then yeah, then that's when your neighbors and fellow taxpayers, come in and give you a little safety net. If you have retirement you can draw on, and this would be true if you had a 401k. This would be true if you had a savings account that you were keeping, it could be an IRA, anything you can delve into. I know back in the day there were exceptions. We don't see a lot of pensions so much anymore, but where if a pension literally could not be touched before X period, then that was considered not available. But for the rest of us and for most people, 401ks, savings, Social Security, retirement, that all is your wherewithal to support yourself. The viewer, and I get the frustration. I mean, you're in a bad place if you were disabled and only got SSI. Something went awry. I don't know whether it's, one stopped working and didn't pay in enough, or sometimes people did, but then they couldn't prove their case sufficiently to get Social Security disability. Then they became DLI expired, and we have videos on what your DLI is. You never want it to get expired. And then the only thing they could get was SSI, even though they did have a robust working record. So it can really vary across the people in everyone's situation. There's just so many examples where it could be. So the SSI, and I'd mentioned before, they should have been nailing him for the early retirement at 62, not 64. So I'm not sure what that's about, except for that one little possible exception. Maybe he suddenly became vested in retirement early or otherwise at 64. To me, that seems very remote, but that's certainly possible. Now, what are the options? I mean, he says, can I be forced to take early retirement? I think this, and I have zero cases to back this up with, guys, but only based on the rules. We can always quit our SSI. So technically, he could quit his SSI, refuse or cancel any automatic application for early retirement, do that rather quickly. And then he's not getting early retirement. So therefore, when he gets to 67, it will be the full retirement amount, but he's not going to get the SSI either. So if it's something that he's relying on to live, he doesn't have a spouse or family or someone who will foot him a while, that's going to be probably an impractical choice that wouldn't work. But there are some people who that might work for. So I just want to throw it out there. I see no reason under the rules that you could not say, no, then stop my SSI. I will live in a tent over there, or with my brother who I can't stand, or whatever, and hold off on the Social Security retirement. I mean, it really depends on what you can do and what you're willing to do. I know it's not easy, but the rule for having to take whatever Social Security is available to you when it is. The same is true, by the way, with Social Security disability. If you file for SSI, they automatically deem it as an application for Social Security disability. And because the decision on disability hinges on the same rules, you might get the SSD. And actually, that would be very good. That would be actually preserving a bit more probably your retirement. It allows you to work and not have offsets and all that other stuff. So getting the SSD, way, way, way better, in my opinion, overall, and generally speaking, than just SSI. But they do an automatic deeming of an application for SSD when you file for SSI. If you're not eligible for SSD because you were not insured for it, and remember, it's term insurance, so some people are not, that's when you would be falling back on the SSI. I have some of those cases. If you similarly, get up to early retirement age, it's supposed to be 62, not 64. It triggers a little, this person's 62, he's going to have to file for whatever he can get from his early retirement. If your early retirement is less than the 943 or thereabouts, you will be able to get the balance in SSI, and there you'll still always get up to that minimum floor of that federal benefit rate that SSI provides. It'll be partly through your Social Security early retirement and partly through SSI. Ideally, you can get a higher amount than that, so you don't have to have SSI at all anymore, because there are things you can do that we've discussed before. If you're on early retirement, you can work a little bit, similar to SSD. And you wouldn't have to worry about CDRs. You're on retirement. You're not on disability anymore if that is what they force you to do, and if that boots out all of your SSI. And the only way I could see getting out of that is if you just say, then I don't want your SSI, because I don't want to damage my SSR amount that I could be getting at 67. I wait. I don't think it's going to be practical for a lot of people, but I think it would be for some. Anywho, anyway, thank you very much. I think that was Robert for that good question. A lot of people, I've seen it before. I may have even commented on it before, but thought I'd pop out a quickie before I close up shop for the night. Talk to you guys later. Bye.